Kids and cadets, welcome back to Tommy Time. We're looking at this Bolens 21-inch cut by MTD, 4.5 horsepower Briggs. We had looked at this. This came off the scrapper's trailer for 20 bucks. And then we looked at this thing. Main thing was the recoil spring was shot, broken, so I stole another spring out of a dilapidated recoil and got action on this thing. This thing had multiple issues: water in the gas tank, the Oregon plug was dead. We put the Champion plug, OEM plug, back in it, the Romeo Juliet 19 Lima Mike, and it fired off. We sprayed carb cleaning and that did the trick. The muffler's loose, and what I believe they put in for motor oil or engine oil, crankcase oil, was 2-cycle oil. It looks very dark greenish, like it's 2-cycle. Clucky thinks it's a clucked up job, but we're going to plow ahead like an international harvester in South Dakota on a soybean farm. So no air filter. I brought out a new air filter. Had no air filter, the invisible air filter. Blade on this thing was bent on a 90. I didn't mess with that. I want to see if this thing's going to run before we move forward. So let's discuss the carburetor. I took that off and rebuilt it. I'll give you some diaphragm numbers. The diaphragm kit, there's a couple of numbers that'll work. Let me try to focus this thing. 795083 or 495770 is the diaphragm kit. You'll have a paper gasket and a rubber gasket. I've done other videos on how to rebuild these Pulsar style carbs. You can refer to one of those to see how it's done. But I'll give you a quick overview. With the 5 screws removed, what I do to rebuild is I put down a paper gasket first, the rubber, and then paper on top. In order to do that, since there's only one paper gasket in the kit, I saved the old paper gasket that came out of the carb when you take it apart. So that's that. Let me show you the inside of the carb. As you recall, there was water in it and kind of a crusty, rusty layer. Let me see if I can... Yeah, there we go. So I ended up cleaning it up. I'll show you how to do it in 15 minutes. Normally, if they're really crusty, I'll do apple cider vinegar, 5% acid, let it sit overnight. What also works is a toilet bowl cleaner. But this is a hands-on job. You don't set this overnight, it'll eat the metal. It has sulfamic acid, sulfamic acid is the main ingredient in this, and this is just from Dollar Tree. So what I do is just cover the bottom of the tank after I poured the water out of it, let it sit for 10 or 15 minutes, pay attention, kind of tilt the tank down so you can see the metal here, and then let it sit flat. And that's all it took. Then clean it out real good with water to neutralize the acid, and then I blew it out with compressed air and then went through the carb, put the carb back on. So we're ready to go here. Came up with another screw. It was missing this screw, so this screw here is longer than it should be, but it's the right size thread, so that's going to go in here. The excess is just going to show up out here, which is not going to interfere with anything. As you recall, it had goops and goops of oil sand in here. I made it all nice and pretty. So Clucky thinks we should put it back together, and I agree wholeheartedly. So I'm going to take my Z-bend here on the linkage, put that on. I took a little wire brush and cleaned the surface rust off of the flywheel. I'm going to need some of that 50 plus 10. It's 57 degrees here. Kind of a crappy day. Chilly, kind of breezy from the north, and rainy and damp. My fingers were killing me earlier, but it seemed to warm up a little bit. There'll be a high of 57. But the rest of you folks up north are suffering with inclement temperatures or inclement weather. Okay, jumped ahead of myself. I should have put the spacer back here first. And that's going to take this bolt, 1/2-inch drive, get that started. Then come out here to the outside, get that started. Who's coming to town? Looks like Delta. So he's working hard, probably an ILS approach. We got overcast conditions, layer of scud. Okay, just tighten that down. Let me go to the 1/2. Okay, I'm going to have to bring out the gas, fresh gas. So I won't run this. I just want to see if it's going to stay running, because that 2-cycle oil I want to get out of the crankcase. Okay, so that's good and tight. Let me do the 10 out there, and then we'll keep progressing with this project. Tightened up the head bolts, crisscross applesauce. Those are 1/2-inch. Okay, Clucky, it's time to put the recoil. This is the 3-holer. You got 1 in the front, 2 in the back. The other style, well, the metal recoil is 2 here, and then 2 in the back as well. So I think we're good to go on this. I used the length of string that came with this thing. So let's just manipulate this thing back into place. I don't think I'm forgetting anything. I'll list the engine number down below as well as the Bolens MTD model number. So I'm wondering if the muffler's going to rattle. It's the threaded type muffler, which I have had problems with before. They end up rusting on the inside and kind of fall apart. But they're pretty cheap and available. Uh-oh, neighbors having a dispute. Must be tough having a teenager. Okay, so that's on tightly. Okay, time for the air filter. Let me get this hand tight. Okay, let me get some fuel. Gasoline, petroleum product, non-ethanol fuel. Okay, we're cooking it. So it's not bad mid-afternoon, still no sun, dreary day, but it's tolerable. It's all about layers. 3 or 4 layers will keep you warm. Okay, that's half a tank. We'll lower the table and we'll give it a pull or two. Hopefully it's a single shot Annie. I probably should have left the cover off until I saw that it was priming, but we'll know soon enough. Okay, who's coming in? Is it United? Looks like United, possibly. Okay, we'll roll this fine beauty off. I had the old blade behind the wheel so it wouldn't roll off. That was my wheel chalk. Okay, let's see what it'll do. I put the front wheels up. I had trouble moving the back wheels, so I think we're enough off the ground where we're not going to hit the blade. But let me just check. Let me throw a clip on the bail bar and just kind of see what this blade's going to do. Yeah, I think we tried it with nitro, and I didn't hit anything on the ground, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to do it like this. Prime it. Air, air. Okay, we got a little fuel, and we got straight fuel. So 2 shots of direct injection. Pull and go Annie, 1 shot Annie. I'm going to cheat, put it at top dead center. Oh, crap. Bunch of liquid poured out of the muffler. Could be rainwater. 2, 3. That's really spitting out water. 4, 5. Where's all that water coming from? 1, 2, 3. I had the carb off overnight. I had stored it dried and put a piece of cardboard over the rest of the mower. So why in the heck is this thing not starting? Puking a bunch of water out of the muffler. Well, kids and cadets, I was not expecting this outcome. Water don't burn. Where'd all this come from? Who can I blame? Clucky this time. Let's see what it pukes. I'm gonna pull on this. Did it puke? I don't see any puking. Blow out the plug. See if any water blast out with some compressed air. Ooh, got a little Got a little bite there on the plug wire. That woke me up. I'm not going to need any motivation on my 50 plus 10. That little zapper got me breathing again. Okay, let's start this fun process over. 1, 2, 3. 2. I'm not supposed to be running it. I'm glad you told me to turn it off with that 2-cycle oil. Is that why it's so smoky? Burning 2-cycle. Little low on the RPMs. The throttle control here is operative, low RPM, and then max right there. It just didn't seem to have enough oomph at max. So what you can do is take that little loop and pull it to the outside, puts more pressure on the spring. It'll give you a higher RPM. Warming up my kneecap. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So there we go. Bolens made it. Carb clean was successful. Ironically, not a whole lot of vibration with that bent blade. If you want the part numbers again for the diaphragm kit, 795083 will work. I'll put both numbers down below for the diaphragm kit. Any questions, concerns, complaints? You can email me, Tommy.time@Yahoo. So this one turned out good. Needs a little more work, but we're getting down to the nitty-gritty. Tip your waitress and waitstaff. Adios, amigos.